Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. Joining us today, I warned you guys he was going to be here, so you had fair warning. But from the KC Sports Commission, the race director for the Garmin Kansas City Marathon, this is our buddy Dave Borter. Dave, how you doing?
I'm good, Kyle. It's good to see you. And I wish you wouldn't have warned people because now they're not going to tune in.
Oh, see, now we're going to have like triple the audience now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No, that
you.
sounds good. Yeah, we're doing well. It was a little stressful last week when it was still creeping up to 90 degrees, but I think, knock on wood, that we're past that. I know we don't know how much we can trust the meteorologists, of course, but right now the 10-day forecast is looking like upper 40s the morning of the race and kind of in the 50s and low 60s for most runners. So yeah, I think it should be a really nice day, assuming the weather holds together.
Yeah, now I thought the extended forecast looked great personally, so I hope that it stays that way. And
Yeah, no doubt. And dry would be good. We'll have dry so we can make sure people are comfortable before the race and they can stick around and go crazy in the after party as well.
yeah, how is the after party shaping up? Everything
Oh
coming
my
together
gosh.
nicely?
Yeah, it may be the best one yet, to be honest. And as the race organizer, about 5 years ago, we all got together and we were like, what can we do to make this race special? And the things you talk about are, at least for me, it's like the course and the weather, the time of year, the after party, the expo, like all those different pieces. So we looked really hard at the course and we are like, man, is there any way we can get this course flatter, I should say? And kind of the consensus was we can't do it.
Nope.
Even if we tried to make it as flat as possible, then you wouldn't see anything.
Right.
And you'd be kind of running east to west along a manual cleaver, which the plaza part of that's cool, but a lot of it isn't as exciting. So we kind of made the idea at that point, we're going to dive all into, beautiful scenic course. And even though it's not the easiest course out there, right? Obviously the Chicago Marathon just happened. That's a flat pancake course.
Yeah, it is.
We're going to make a beautiful course and we're going to try to really ramp up the after party. So yeah, I'm really excited. We have, like we had last year, Jack Stack barbecues serving pulled pork afterwards. Central States Beverage has given us 2 beers and 2 hard seltzers. So everybody over 21 gets in a free adult beverage as well, including a Boulevard option, which we all love, the local brewery. And then Russell Stover is new this year, which I'm excited about. This is their 100th year anniversary as a company, and they're giving all the runners a finisher chocolate. So not only do you get your finisher medal going to the Finish Line Festival, and you get a chocolate as well. And then on top of that, we'll have a ton of photo ops from Garmin and some of our other sponsors. And then Fit Muscle and Joint Clinic will be there doing the free post-race muscle treatments, which if you've never had that, especially after a half or full marathon, that's a lifesaver. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm excited. And if it's in the 60s most of the day, which I think is what it's going to look like, it should be a great day for the after party. And that's, to be honest, that's one of my favorite parts. You've put in the training for 3 months, 4 months, whatever that looks like. You're grinding it out on the course for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, like whatever that time is.
Right.
And this is your time to exhale and just celebrate not just the training, but really what you just completed. Because for me, like race day is a celebration of all the memories you've made out there at 4 a.m. or pouring rain with your buddies. And this should be a big culmination of that. So that's a very long way to answer your question that I'm
No, you
very
did.
excited about the Finish Line Festival. And for me, that's honestly my favorite part of the whole race day.
Yeah. Well, and as race director, that's when you really get to exhale because the race is finally kind of done at that point. Once
Yeah,
they
and I know
start.
you've obviously been doing some of this as well. One of the weird things about race day is you do all this prep, and the moment the runners leave the starting corral, it's kind of out of your hands. So
Yeah.
you're like, oh, they're gone and they're on the course, and now we need KCPD to do what they're going to do, which obviously is they do a great job of like keeping cars off the course and all
Yep.
this stuff. And you just hope that people in the general public will be patient when they have to divert their routes if they're trying to get to a grocery store or soccer practice or whatever. So in some ways that's a little stressful when everybody's gone, but at the same point, at that point it's totally out of your hands.
Yeah.
So you just got to hope for the best, and then you're so excited to see everybody come back and celebrate.
Yeah. So we kind of skipped to the ending there. Let's go to the start of it. And of course, the start of it is packet pickup and your expo. So tell
Yep.
us a little bit, how is that starting to come together? Well, not starting. How is it?
I still feel like, and I'm very biased, but I feel like we have the best packet pickup and pre-race expo in the city, just being a Union Station,
Yeah.
obviously iconic Kansas City venue, made even a little more iconic this year, hosting the NFL draft and being the backdrop for that monster event.
Right.
So we'll be there again. Free parking. Just make sure you park in the Union Station garage. I think a lot of people make the mistake of parking on the surface lot, and if you do that, you'll have to pay. So
Okay.
if you go to the garage, which is on the west side, sort of down by the Science City and the movie theater entrance, go to the garage. We've already sent an email, but we'll send more emails with the QR code. So you end up scanning that, and then you'll get the ability to exit for free after the expo. But otherwise, park in the garage, go into Union Station. We're in the big rectangular festival plaza where they do a lot of their big events. We've got about 55 different vendors this year, so it should be a really good expo. Of course, all the big sponsors like Garmin will be there. I mentioned Fit Muscle and Joint Clinic. They'll also be at the expo if you need any little pre-race adjustments, or if you're having any nagging aches and pains, they can take care of that as well. Molson Coors will be there giving out some beverages.
Nice.
It's just, the Running Wall store, obviously a great partner and great place to stop. Casey Running Company will be there as well. And those two companies have started really combining their forces. So they have everything you need for last minute energy gels for the course, socks, shoes, all that sort of stuff. Also, you can stop by the Runner's Edge booth. That's one of my favorite booths because you can get a pacer band. And if you don't know what that is, we have pace groups for the half marathon and full marathon, where you don't have to worry about making one of the biggest mistakes on race day, which is starting too fast. That has doomed so many runners, including myself, probably including you at some point in your life.
Guilty. Oh, guilty so many times.
But if you go get a pace band and then stick with the pacer, they will start slower the first 2 miles to make sure you don't start too fast. They will slow down on the uphills so you don't make that mistake. They'll speed up on the downhills where it's easier to speed up. So I would highly recommend that, especially if you have a time goal, or if it's your first time doing a race and you just don't want to have to worry about pacing yourself. Stop by the Runner's Edge pace group as well, and in that booth at the Expo Hall, because I think that's a big perk, especially for first-time runners.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Absolutely correct. And yeah, we've talked about pacers before on the show, and they are critical to having a good race. If you want a good race, get with a pacer. That's just how it is.
and not only are the pacers so great, but in the pace group, you just start talking to people, and a lot of time it's people you've never met before, and you'll find you're running with someone who lives, like I live in Lisama, and you'll find, oh, there's someone else who lives 5 minutes from me, and here's someone from Chicago, and here's someone from Florida, and you're just shooting the breeze with people, and before you know it, 5 or 10 miles are gone, and it's like, holy cow, you get that real sense of camaraderie. And sometimes you get to mile 20 and a few people start dropping off, or a few people speed up, but it's another great way to make the time fly by. So I think that's another one of the cool parts as well.
Yep, no, I would agree 100%. So also at the expo, we have an Olympian who's going to be there. Is that correct?
We do. We actually have 2 Olympians. So Courtney Frericks and Corey McGee, both of them Garmin-sponsored athletes, will be there signing autographs on Friday from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. So right there at the front of the expo hall at the Garmin booth. So you can come by and check that out. And then they may be doing, you'll have to ask them when you're there, but they may be doing a little bit of a secret shakeout run that afternoon. So if you're looking to do a couple miles later that day, and you can actually check it out on the Garmin KC Marathon Facebook page. We've teased that a little bit as well, but it's a little bit under the radar. We're not blasting this out to the masses, but your viewers will get the down low. If you need a 2 or 3 mile shakeout run the day before the race as well, they'll be doing that at Loose Park. But yeah, like you said, you can get their autograph, photo, whatever you want to do at the expo, 12:30 to 1 on Friday. And that's cool. And then I know Corey has to leave early Saturday, but Courtney is also sticking around to pace the 1:30 half marathon group. So that'll be cool for some of the really fast runners out there. You'd have a chance to run the half marathon with an Olympian, which is pretty cool.
With a freaking Olympian. Yeah, that is amazing.
Although, to be honest, I can't do that pace right now. But this is totally off topic, but one of my favorite things about these races is, she's going to run it at 1:30. The winning time's probably going to be, between 1:05 and 1:15, something in there. And the last place time is whatever, 3 hours. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out for the half marathon.
Sure.
But the cool thing to me is, the last place finisher in the half marathon is doing the exact same distance and the exact same course as an Olympic runner. And that's unbelievable. We can't go out today, even though we're very excited to watch the Chiefs game tonight. We can't go out and play on the field at Arrowhead Stadium, literally ever. But on October 21st, you can go out and run the exact same course as an Olympian. And for me, that's really cool, even if you're nowhere near her speed. I think that's a really cool factor of running that, you really don't get in any other sport.
Yeah. Well, that was my big claim to fame when I did Boston. I was on the same course at the same time as Kipchoge, I think, for about 37 minutes.
Amazing.
And that was it.
Yeah. No, I think that's like super cool. I mean, you're towing the starting line at the same spot. You're crossing the same finish line. I mean, it's pretty cool. And like I said, you can't do this in I'm not going to go play baseball at Kauffman Stadium. I mean, unless they invite us, if they want to do a back of the pack day, where we could go out and play on the field.
I'm in.
We're talking to you, Royals. That'd be great. But
that's right.
No, I just think that's such a cool thing about running. And Courtney's also going to stick around for a little bit after she paces the half. So if you go by the Garmin booth on race day, you could get a photo holding the medal with her as well. But
that's awesome.
That's one of the cool things. Obviously, Garmin's a great local Kansas City company with an international reach. But these sponsored athletes they have are just the nicest people you'll ever meet. In the past, they brought in Alexi Pappas, Nell Rojas as well. Corey and Courtney, this is going to be their second time coming into town for the race. Just really down-to-earth people. I think a lot of us might think like, oh my gosh, Travis Kelce, I couldn't talk to him. He's like this, bigger than life person. And now maybe even more so because now he's dating Taylor Swift, right?
Yeah.
These Olympians, these runners are just down to earth. And I think it's a lot of the same. Like I met Meb a few years ago at a running conference, and he's literally in the top 10 nicest people I've ever met. So I think that's a pretty neat thing about running as well, is you may have one or two people out there, which I'm not going to name names here on the podcast, but there may be one or two like pro elite runners that are kind of buttholes. But in general, everybody's just super nice.
Yeah, I definitely get that as well, that there are a lot of super nice runners, even at the elite level out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not quite as awesome as us back of the pack people, but they're close.
Right. Well, we all know that. We all know the back of the packers are the nicest.
That's right.
But don't hold that against the super fast people, because they're usually pretty nice as well.
Yep. So speaking of super fast, and we're sidebarring, how impressed were you with Kiptum in Chicago last weekend? Running 2 hours, 35 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, and I guess it's some way like you anticipate throughout our lives, the record will always get a little faster, a little bit at a time. But have you done Chicago before?
Yes. Yeah, okay, 2018, I did Chicago.
And this may be just an excuse for me because I had a really rough race there, but I think it's hard running a course that's perfectly flat.
It is hard.
Literally using the exact same muscles every step for 26 miles. So, like, in some ways, to me, that's even more impressive what he did, because I know flat courses are technically easier than super hilly courses, but I still think takes a beating on your legs. And then on top of that, if you saw what he did right after he crossed the finish line, he did like a leaping jump into the arms of, it was either his coach or his dad. I don't know who it was. And all I was thinking was, if I did that right after I crossed the finish line, my whole body would cramp.
Oh, yeah.
He was just like, no problem. I just set the world record.
Yeah, no, my quads would explode if I did that. So real quick, funny story. My very first marathon, 2011, I was in Tulsa, and my buddy was kind of all over the course, because he lived down there, and so he'd wave and all this. First time I saw him was at mile 12, and I thought, okay, I'll run up, we'll do a chest bump. So after 12 miles, we ran up and did a little chest bump. That jump, I thought my legs were going to die. Like, that was the worst decision I might have ever made in a running situation.
I have a similar story from Boston. So we both done Boston once. I tried for 7 years to qualify. I finally qualified. I got there and I was injured. I could still run, but I couldn't really run like as hard as I wanted to. So I just decided I'm going to go have as much fun as I can. I'm going to high five everybody I can and, post for photos, whatever. So I got to like mile 18 or 19. And I'm like, oh, there's a crap ton of people over there. And I sprinted diagonal across this road and started high-fiving people. And right when I got to the fence, my hamstring locked up.
Oh, no.
I was like, oh, I really shouldn't have like dashed across the road this late in the race to celebrate with people. But I didn't do that again the rest of the race, but I totally feel what you're saying.
Yeah. And I think, you did that then right before Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's another funny thing about Boston, because I was thinking, oh, we're in Kansas City, we're used to hills, this is no big deal. But I mean, it is the real deal. It's tough. It seems like it goes on forever. And it's even tougher because you've had like a full half marathon of like super easy terrain. And then you get into that and it's like, oh, I mean, it's not like mile 24 in the course, but it's late enough where it's very tough.
Yeah, no, it was definitely brutal. But hey, we both survived. We both have a
We did.
Boston, so go
Well, and
team.
I'll tell you, I'd love to hear your take on it, but for me, it's by far the coolest race experience I've ever done. And I love Chicago, but Boston for me was like 10 times Chicago. It was just so
Yeah,
many people that cared so much, and it was pretty awesome.
yeah, and that's what I said. Not anyone who's listened, they heard for for Boston, I felt like the sincerity of the crowd was amazing. They want you to succeed and they are all rooting for you. The only comparable thing was New York, but they're just a rabid electric fan base. Like they're just out there going nuts. Whereas Boston, they want to see you succeed and do well. So they were a little different, I thought, but both of them beat Chicago. And yeah, Boston was pretty dang amazing with crowd support.
I mean, people were like, when I ran by, people were cheering for me like I was David Ortiz or Tom
Right.
Brady back in the. I'm like, why do these people like me so much? I don't understand, but it was awesome.
I think what they need to do though, they need to have the names on their bib so that the crowd can yell your name because then you hear a lot. I made the mistake of wearing a headband that had the Ted Lasso Believe sign on it.
Oh,
So
uh-huh.
apparently I my name was Believe for the entire course. That's all people would yell. Believe, believe, believe.
Well, I should have done that too. I wore, you seen the movie Major League, the
Oh
old
yeah.
baseball? Okay, so I wore a shirt that had Jobu on it, and it said like Jobu's rum, very bad to drink since 1986 or something. And so I was Jobu all day, and so
Right.
you, yeah, you were believed. So there was a lot of jokes, but yeah, people really bought into that.
Now I'm a little jealous I didn't wear a Joe Boo shirt. Now that would be hilarious.
It was funny. People were telling me Jobu couldn't hit the curveball. I mean,
Right.
it was pretty funny.
But apparently
Yeah.
Joe Boo can run a marathon.
Yeah, apparently so. Yeah. And then like obviously the college, the Wesleyan College cheer zone was insane.
They were
That lived up
nuts.
to the hype. Like you could hear it from a half mile away. So it was cool. And I don't know if you were the same way. I teared up a little bit, kind of going around the last couple turns when you know you're
Oh.
like a quarter mile away or whatever. Like that was pretty emotional.
Once we hit the screaming tunnel as it is right before you get up and turn right and then left on Boylston, yeah, that's
Mhm.
where it started to hit me. And then of course turning that left and seeing the finish line. Yeah, I was a mess. I was a blubbery mess, but oh
It's
well.
funny. Like in life, things don't always live up to the hype, but that was like totally lived up to the hype. And then so this is weird. We talked about our after party at the Garmin KC Marathon.
Yep.
Right after you finish Boston, like it is water, metal, banana, maybe a cookie, and like you're gone.
Yeah, you're done. Yep.
No music, there's no massage, there's
Mm-mm.
no beer. Like you're just limping down this street trying to figure out if you're going to go stretch in a park over here or go back to
Right.
your hotel. Now, granted, they have a heck of a party later that night in
Yeah.
Fenway Park, which is amazing. But it's just a weird that like the race is so great and the experience is like once in a lifetime, but it is kind of weird right after you cross where you're like, okay, well now like I got nothing to do and I've been finished for 1 minute.
Right. Yeah. No, it is weird that you were 100% correct. The ending was a little strange. I had my little heat blanket, my medal, and I'm just kind of gimping down the road. Like I really don't know where to go right now. There was just
I
nothing
don't.
and
There
nobody.
must be a reason, but I was thinking like there's this huge park to the left. Like
Mhm.
they could do such a big party like Chicago does, but
Right.
like I said, the party that did you get to go to the party at Fenway that night?
I actually did not. I could barely function.
Gotcha. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. But
I had thought about it and I was tempted, but no, I thought staying in and ordering some food and not moving sounded like a better idea.
one, and to be honest, that's one of obviously after a marathon, you're going to feel like garbage, even if you've trained great and
Oh
even if
yeah.
you have a great race. But that's one of my favorite things is like the recovery. And by recovery, I mean pigging out
Yep.
and having a couple giant beers or glasses of wine or whatever. Like that's another great reward after those months and months of training and then that grind you put yourself through on race day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that still might be my favorite moment from Chicago. There's a picture out there of my Giordano's pizza with my Goose Island 312 beer and my Chicago medal, all right there together, because that is how
Hey,
I celebrated after doing that race.
great minds think alike because I had the same post race. I don't know if I had a 312, but we went to Giordano's. We got the giant beers, and the
Yep.
Chiefs were playing at the same time. So it was actually awesome. We were watching the Chiefs game since Chicago's a Sunday race, eating the
Nice.
deep dish pizza. And
Yep.
yeah, and to me, the only negative thing about Chicago, they do have the after party, but you literally have to limp walk. It seems like a mile to
Forever.
get to. I mean, it's just like so long.
Yeah, getting out of Grant Park takes forever in Chicago. It was awful. Also similar in New York because you have to walk a long way to get out of Central Park. too, to even get where you could get an Uber or a cab or whatever. So,
Well, and that's one I still need to do. New York's probably very top of my bucket list.
Mhm.
And I know you have to get there super early.
Yes.
But I've just heard nothing but amazing things about New York. Where would you rank that compared to Chicago and Boston?
So Boston and New York are 1 and 1A, and I don't know where. I mean, again, they're both amazing for different reasons. Chicago is distant behind those two.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And so, but nothing beats the Kansas City Marathon, which I did before it was sponsored by Garmin, but
So that's one.
it's number one.
Boston and then New York.
Yeah. Then we got to figure out the rest after the Kansas City.
That's funny.
All right, so let's see. All right, we got to get back on track here in Kansas City. Okay, so tell everyone, and this is a trick question, where can they pick up their packets on race morning? They can't pick it up.
And you have to go to Union Station. But the thing is, you have so many hours, right? You can go over your lunch break, you can go after work. It's a nice excuse to maybe cut out of work early on Thursday or Friday. So the expo hours, Thursday, 3 to 8. Friday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So we see a lot of people go over their lunch break after work. I will give a tip to your viewers that it's insane if you try to go right at 3 o'clock on Thursday. It's probably better to go at 3:30 or 4, because when it opens every year, I don't know if you've ever been there right at the start. I guess you were there last year.
Yeah, we were there last year.
There's like 200 people lined up outside waiting to run in. So it's just kind of a chaotic experience right when it opens. So that would be my insider tip. Try to go more like 3:30 or 4 o'clock if you want to go the first day. But yeah, no race day pickup. If for some reason you can't get down there, we do have a form on the website where someone else can pick up your packet for you. But as much as possible, we'd encourage people to go down and check out all the vendors and stick around a while. No reason to go there and dash in and out. We got so much cool stuff for you to enjoy while you're down there.
Oh yeah, and plenty of ways to spend money on all the vendors, which that's the worst thing at packet pickup. I want to stop by and buy every cool running thing I see.
Well, that's in some ways it's the worst thing, but in some ways it's the best thing. Because look at that big smile on your face right now, thinking all the stuff you're going to buy at the expo.
Yeah. It's going to be bad here in just a few days. By the time this episode airs, people will just be a few days away from getting down there and buying all the fun stuff.
Hey, that's why we have credit cards, right?
That's exactly right.
So and why I better guilty right away.
Yeah, better start saving up for some of these destination races I want to do.
Right? Yeah.
But you can't do the destination race unless you have the toys from the expo. I mean, that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, they have everything you need at the expo. If it's a foam roller, if it's a massage stick, if it's a massage gun, I mean, all those things are there. And I know we're not getting into this much today, but for people that are just getting into long distance running, definitely prioritize your recovery. At night, do some foam rolling. And if you don't know what that is, Google it, because it's not very hard, but you can do that while you're sitting down watching TV in the evening. And it helps so much with your recovery in terms of your training throughout the week. So, I mean, that's another thing I always look for at the expo is like, what are the latest and greatest recovery tools in addition to all the cool race merch and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good call. I've got 3 different foam rollers here, so I'm definitely a fan myself.
Yeah, I have the big foam roller that's actually foam. I have the stick. I have this thing that's like that. It clamps on your leg, and it's like the jaws of life.
That's like the next one I want to get. Those look amazing.
It's intense and it's great. It's almost too intense for like your calves, but it's great on your quads and hamstrings.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I do have a massage gun. The thing that's on my bucket list that I'm too cheap to buy are those Normatec boots.
Oh, yeah, they like the compression boots, right?
Yeah, they zip up your whole legs.
Yeah.
And then they're like automated robot massage treatment. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I bet that's amazing.
We need to get them as a title sponsor of the podcast / KC Marathon. Normatec, we love you. Please respond to our emails.
That's right. Yeah, we're willing to work with you.
We're willing to try a pair and talk about it.
That's right.
2 pairs, preferably.
We'll talk about it a ton. Yeah, just hook us up. We'll get that thing going.
But I don't know if you ever met Nick Pigg, former owner of Run 816. Good guy, was a big running coach. He had an injury once and loaned me his Normatec boots for like 3 months, and it was unbelievable.
Hard to get those back, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was hoping he'd forget. He didn't forget. Well, so what distance are you running at the KC Marathon this year?
I'm half marathon in it.
Half marathon. Cool. Yep. Are you feeling good?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling all right. I'm battling some just I think fatigued knees right now
Mm.
between playing indoor soccer, softball, and all the running. Kind of overdoing it right now. So they're a little wonky, but put on the knee braces and get out there and get it done. I am looking forward to it because last year I just did the 5K, so I'm ready to get back to half marathon distance. And then I've got a stretch of 4 half marathons in 5 weeks, I think, or is it 3 and 4? No, maybe it's 3 and 4. No, it's 4 and 5. Yeah.
This is the
So
first one of that stretch.
this will be the first one in that stretch, and then got a few out of town. Going to Midland, Texas for one, and then up to Nebraska for another, and then another one here in
Cool.
town. So
Cool.
yeah,
Well, you have to let us know what you think of the course. Have you done the half since we moved down to the Nelson Atkins?
I did the first year that the new course was a thing. I did the half marathon, and so it is the only time I will ever say that a downhill was too much for me. The downhill from the World War I museum, all the way down until pretty much the Kauffman Center. Like my hips were actually starting to hurt. Normally, I am a sucker for downhills. That's where I catch my breath. I love them. But yeah, that one was like, wow, I am actually starting to hurt on a downhill.
That is a steep downhill
Yeah.
for sure. The so KC was my first marathon in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't go back that far with the race, we did that hill, but we had to run up it.
Yep,
and
I remember.
It was awful.
Yes.
It was pretty early. It was probably around mile 3 or 4, but
yeah,
man, that hill was rough.
Yes. Nope, I definitely remember that. I did the full in 2014, and I was doing the half in 2013.
Oh, okay.
For that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I remember that hill. I'd rather go down it than up it. So I'm not knocking our new course.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, the thing is, like, one of the best things about the half is you obviously run past all the big landmarks in KCMO. But then once you get to about mile 10 and a half, you do have 2.5 miles of downhill, but it's super gradual. So compared to what you're talking about on Kessler, right near the World War I Memorial, the last 2.5 miles are not going to trash your body. They'll just kind of help pull you into the finish line.
Yep. And then you turn the corner. Well, I know you make that right and you're heading right back towards Nelson Atkins. It's a great finish.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
I do.
I've never gotten to run it myself. So we were even talking internally. This year we have 4 or 5 runners on our staff, and we're saying one of us needs to at least run the 5K so we can see that, and we'd only be gone for 30 minutes, so we wouldn't miss too much.
Yeah. Now, see, I did the 5K last year, and I felt like I was a cheater because I was already eating a sandwich and drinking a beer at 8:30 in the morning, and so yeah, I had to
call it a cheater, but like it would be the meme of the guy who's pointing at his brain. That's what I would say.
Right? Yeah, it could be that too. But yeah, everyone was out working a lot harder than I was doing the half and the full. Just a little.
Yeah, but you stuck around all day. Remember?
Yep. Oh yeah. Nope. I was there ringing the cowbell at the end. So I plan on being there quite the while as well. We have a few devoted podcast listeners doing the full, so I'm going to be there and make sure we get them into the finish line.
Well, since you're there so long, if you do need an extra beverage, let me know, and I think I can find one for you.
Oh man, see that's my hero right there. That's my guy.
That'll keep the cheers going, right?
Oh, absolutely. The more I drink, the louder I'm going to cheer. That's just kind of how it works.
That's funny.
All right.
It's a good thing we don't do this podcast intoxicated, because I know I get grief already here in my house for being too loud. So
we could have some fun with that, though. Get a drunk podcast going. Well,
yeah, it'd be like Harry Carey back in the day.
Right. It looks like my wow, this is going to end our episode. I'm getting the countdown from Zoom here.
Oh,
I know. We got 20 seconds left. Wow. What happened there?
Well, okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And
good seeing you. We'll see everybody October 21st.
Absolutely. We're going to see you that Saturday morning. It's going to be a good time. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, sir.
All right. Good to see you.
Yep. Later on.
Bye.
And then, yeah, it's going to cut me off. See, thanks, Dave.
That's so weird. All right.
That is weird. I've never seen that. Oh, wait a minute. Now it says remaining time. It went from nothing now to 9 minutes. This thing is whack. But whatever.
Well, we covered pretty much everything.
I think we did. Yep. So yeah, I'll see you there. I'm sorry I couldn't get the booth together. I kind of lost my 2 sponsors that helped me out last year, and with all the money I put into the race in September, I didn't have the scratch. So
totally get it.
Yeah, I'm hoping next year to be back though.
Cool. Yep. Sounds good.
Cool, man. Well, enjoy the game tonight.
Thanks, man. Yep. Go Chiefs.
Yeah, that's right. I'll see you Saturday.
See you, buddy.
Bye.